Zarifa lives in a small, remote village nestled between the hills. The village is poor, its fields barren, and its roads muddy. Every day feels like a struggle for survival, and dreams often seem like distant stars that are impossible to reach. But not for Zarifa. She is different. Her spirit is bold, her mind constantly alive with ideas and hopes. She dreams of a life beyond the dust and the monotony of rural life. She dreams of the city. Her love for education is boundless. She spends every free moment with books, reading anything she can get her hands on. The village school is small, but Zarifa's passion for learning knows no bounds. While other girls her age are focused on domestic chores, Zarifa's heart is set on something greater. She wants to become a teacher, to pass on the knowledge she's acquired and change the lives of others in her village. Her father, Kwesi, is her greatest support. A humble man, he works hard to provide for the family, even though times are tough. He sees the fire in Zarifa's eyes and knows that she is destined for something bigger. Unlike other fathers in the village who hold on to traditional expectations, Kwesi has always been a believer in education. He encourages Zarifa, even if it means sacrificing for her future. He dreams of her success, her escape from the boundaries of the village. He wants to see her become the teacher she has always dreamed of becoming. But there is another force in Zarifa's life, one that threatens to crush her dreams. Kumbe, her stepmother, is a harsh woman with a calculating mind. Unlike Kwesi, Kumbe cares only for money, status, and the control she exerts over their household. She is not the nurturing figure Zarifa needs, but rather a constant presence of cold manipulation. Kumbe's role in the family is not one of love, but of control. Her view of Zarifa is clear. The girl is a means to an end, a tool for securing a better life for Kumbe and her own children. Kumbe never hesitates to remind Zarifa of her place in the family, constantly undermining her aspirations. Where Kwesi sees potential, Kumbe sees only inconvenience. Zarifa's dreams, her education, her desire to leave the village, are all threats to Kumbe's agenda. Kumbe would prefer that Zarifa settle for a life of domesticity, just like the other girls, so that she can control every aspect of her life. To Kumbe, Zarifa's education represents an escape from her grasp, and that is something she will not allow. Despite Kumbe's oppressive presence, Zarifa continues to nurture her dreams in secret. Her father's encouragement is the only light in her life. Zarifa dreams of the city every night, picturing herself walking through busy streets, studying in classrooms filled with scholars, and eventually standing in front of a classroom as a teacher herself. But Kumbe has other plans. With the family's financial struggles weighing heavily, Kumbe convinces her husband, Kwesi, that the only way to secure a better future is for Zarifa to marry Dumi, a wealthy but cruel man from the neighboring village. Dumi is a man who sees women as property, someone who would never allow a woman to live outside the boundaries of traditional expectations. Kumbe knows that if Zarifa marries Dumi, the family will be financially secure, and she can finally elevate her own position in society. Kumbe plays her cards well, carefully manipulating Kwesi's love for Zarifa into convincing him that this marriage is for her own good. She paints a picture of a bright future, free from the poverty that has plagued them for years. She emphasizes the wealth, the status, and the comfort that Zarifa will experience once she marries Dumi. It's a decision that Kumbe knows will benefit her in the long run, securing her future and her power. Kwesi, caught in the tug-of-war between his love for his daughter and his desire to provide for his family, eventually agrees to the marriage. It is a painful decision for him, one that he makes out of a sense of duty rather than conviction. He loves Zarifa dearly and cannot bear the thought of losing her, but he feels cornered. With Kumbe's constant pressure and the lack of viable alternatives, he sees no way out. Zarifa, however, sees her world crumbling around her. The news of the marriage agreement feels like a death sentence to her dreams. She wants to scream, to run away, to fight against the injustice that is being forced upon her. But she feels powerless. Her father, the one person who has always supported her, has just betrayed her. The future she has worked so hard for is slipping away. But Zarifa isn't one to give up easily. Despite the overwhelming odds, she refuses to let Kumbe's greed dictate her life. The fire inside her burns hotter than ever. She knows that this isn't the end, but the beginning of something much bigger. She must find a way to escape her stepmother's control and reclaim her future. The fight is just starting, and Zarifa will not let Kumbe or anyone take away her dreams. The days are growing darker for Zarifa, and in the shadows of her small home, Kumbe weaves a dangerous web of manipulation. With each passing day, the pressure mounts as Kumbe uses her sharp words and calculated moves to push her husband, Kwesi, further into a corner. She knows that the only way to get what she wants is to appeal to Kwesi's deepest fears. The fear of failure, of remaining in poverty, and of watching their daughter grow up in the same oppressive circumstances that they've always known. One evening, after a long day of work, Kumbe sits Kwesi down by the fire. The warmth of the flames contrasts sharply with the coldness in her voice as she speaks, her words like poison slowly seeping into his mind. Kwesi, she begins, her tone soft and almost innocent. Our daughter is a burden. She has dreams, yes, but what are they worth if she can't provide for herself? Dumi has offered us a future free from struggle, free from hunger. He is wealthy, respected, and he could give Zarifa everything she could ever want. She speaks of the promises Dumi has made, his wealth, his property, his position in the village. She paints a picture of a life of luxury and stability, one that Zarifa could never dream of on her own. She tells Kwesi that Dumi's marriage proposal is not just an offer, it's an opportunity that they cannot afford to reject. Kumbe knows exactly how to plant the seed of doubt in Kwesi's heart, telling him that this is the only chance they will ever get to escape the shackles of poverty. Think of our future, Kwesi. Zarifa could become a lady of status, someone who no longer has to struggle. She would no longer be just another poor village girl. Dumi has the means to change all of that. He could give her the education she desires. He could give her a life she could never have here. Kumbe's words, carefully chosen and spoken with conviction, blur the line between truth and manipulation. She plays on Kwesi's insecurities, his desire for a better life for his family. The idea of securing his daughter's future with a man like Dumi seems like the only logical choice. He hesitates, his love for Zarifa pulling him one way, but Kumbe's relentless convincing tugs him in the opposite direction. Zarifa knows something is wrong the moment her father starts to act differently. She sees the tension in his eyes, the way he avoids her gaze, the way he speaks less and less about her future. One night, as they sit at the dinner table, the weight of silence fills the air. Her heart races as she watches Kumbe's smug expression. There is something dark hanging between them, and Zarifa can feel it. "Father," she says, her voice trembling with both fear and anger. "Why didn't you tell me? Why are you doing this?" Her voice cracks, the fear in her heart evident. She can't understand why her father, the one person who has always believed in her, would betray her like this. Kwesi looks at her, his face a mix of guilt and resignation. He can't look her in the eyes, unable to face the pain he knows he's causing. "It's for the best, Zarifa. You don't understand. Dumi can offer us everything we've ever wanted. He can take you to the city, provide for you in ways I never could." Zarifa's heart shatters as she hears her father's words. She's been working towards her dreams for so long, and now it feels like everything is slipping away. "I don't want to marry him," she exclaims, her voice rising with desperation. "I want to be a teacher. I want to go to the city to learn, to help people. This is my life, not a deal to escape poverty." Kumbe, sitting quietly in the corner, seizes the moment. She smiles coldly, as though her plans are falling into place. "Zarifa, you're being selfish," she says, her tone laced with venom. "Your father is doing what he can for you. This is your chance. You should be grateful." Zarifa's frustration boils over as she stares at her father, her heart broken. "Why don't you see what you're doing? I'm not a prize to be won, not a commodity to be traded for security. I want to live my own life." Kumbe's eyes narrow as she watches the exchange. She knows this is just the beginning of her battle to control Zarifa's future. If Zarifa continues to resist, Kumbe is prepared to use every weapon in her arsenal to make her comply. She plays the role of the victim, the loving mother who only wants what's best for her daughter. She reminds Zarifa that she's the one keeping the family afloat, that she's the one making all the hard decisions. "Zarifa," Kumbe says, her voice now turning sharp, "if you don't marry Dumi, you'll only bring shame to this family. Well, remain poor. Well, remain nothing. Do you want that? Do you want to see your father suffer even more?" The emotional toll of this constant battle begins to take a heavy toll on Zarifa. She feels the weight of her dreams, her desires, and her father's expectations bearing down on her. The fight within her grows stronger every day. On one side, there is her father's love, his desire for her to be happy, and his belief in her potential. But on the other side, there is Kumbe's cold, manipulative force pushing her into a corner. Every time Zarifa tries to hold on to her dreams, she is met with more pressure, more guilt, and more attempts to break her resolve. Her mind is a battlefield. She wonders if she is being too stubborn, too naive to see the opportunities in front of her. Could Kumbe be right? Would marrying Dumi give her the life she wants? Could it be the escape from poverty that she so desperately craves? But each time she questions herself, her dreams come back, stronger than ever. She sees the classroom she envisions, the city she longs to explore, the students she hopes to teach. She knows that marrying Dumi will not give her those things. It will trap her, cage her, and destroy the very essence of who she is. The internal struggle is unbearable. Zarifa's heart is torn between duty, fear, and the hunger for freedom. She knows that this isn't just about marriage. It's about the fight for her identity, her future, and her independence. The battle has just begun, and she's determined not to let Kumbe's greed win. Kumbe's obsession with securing a future for herself and her family blinds her to the consequences of her actions. As Zarifa continues to resist her plans, Kumbe's desperation grows. She can't afford to let Zarifa continue to defy her. The marriage to Dumi has to happen, and it must happen soon, before Zarifa can figure out a way to escape or challenge it. Kumbe's schemes become bolder and more ruthless, and she begins to see Zarifa not as a daughter, but as an obstacle to her own desires. One night, as Kumbe stares at the moonlit sky, she comes up with a plan that she believes will work. If she can't convince Zarifa to marry Dumi, she will take matters into her own hands. Kumbe arranges for Dumi's men to come under the cover of darkness, to kidnap Zarifa and bring her to a secluded house in the mountains where the wedding will take place without any interference. She knows that once Zarifa is out of the village, there will be no turning back. Dumi will finally have the bride he wants, and Kumbe will be free from her worries. She speaks with Dumi, her voice full of quiet determination. "It's the only way, Dumi. You'll have her, and no one will be able to stop you. Not her, not her father, not anyone." Kumbe's plan is executed with frightening efficiency. She arranges for the men to strike when the night is darkest, when Zarifa will be most vulnerable. She tells Kwesi that Zarifa has agreed to the marriage, and that they should not interfere. The lies Kumbe spins make Kwesi hesitant, but too trusting. Has blinded by the idea of securing Zarifa's future, too weak to see the darkness that his wife has brought into their lives. Meanwhile, Dumi's obsession with Zarifa grows, not out of love, but out of a twisted desire to possess her. To him, Zarifa is nothing more than a symbol of his power, something to conquer and control. He's become increasingly fixated on the idea of marrying her, and Kumbe's promises feed his hunger. He imagines the life they could have together, the status he would gain, and the ways Zarifa would serve his needs. His thoughts are dark and possessive, driven by an overwhelming need to dominate. He can't understand why Zarifa doesn't want him. Doesn't she realize how much he has to offer? The more she resists, the more determined he becomes to have her. Kumbe reassures Dumi in every meeting, telling him that his time will come, and Zarifa will learn to accept him in the end. She doesn't know what's good for her, Kumbe says with a smirk. Once she's in your house, she'll see the truth. She'll see you for who you are, a man who can give her everything she could ever need. The night the kidnapping happens is as dark as Kumbe's intentions. Zarifa is fast asleep, unaware of the danger creeping closer. She's been trying to stay strong, trying to find a way to escape Kumbe's oppressive grasp. But the weight of her father's silence has been too much. She's lost her sense of direction, unable to trust the people around her. Without warning, the door to her room bursts open. Strong hands grab her, pulling her from her bed. She struggles, her heart racing as the dim light of a lantern flickers in the darkness. The faces of Dumi men are hidden beneath masks, their hands cold and unfeeling as they bind her wrists. "Let me go," Zarifa cries, her voice cracking with fear. "I won't marry him. I won't." But her words fall on deaf ears. The men, silent and relentless, drag her from the house and into the night. The moon casts a cold light over the land, and for a brief moment, Zarifa feels like she's being pulled away from everything she's ever known. The village, her father, and her dreams. They take her to a secluded house, far from the village, where Dumi waits with impatience and hunger in his eyes. But before the ceremony can begin, an unexpected twist occurs. Kaya, Dumi's older brother, has been watching everything unfold from the shadows. Kaya has always been different from his younger brother. While Dumi is ruthless and cruel, Kaya is thoughtful, introspective, and kind-hearted. He's been conflicted for years about his family, especially Dumi's actions. Kaya has witnessed the pain Dumi has caused to those around him, and he's had enough. When Kaya learns about the kidnapping, his heart races with a mix of anger and guilt. He can't let this happen, not to Zarifa. He knows what Dumi is capable of, and he can't be a part of it any longer. Kaya is ready to defy his family, to make his own choices, and to stop the nightmare from unfolding. Kaya sneaks into the house where Zarifa is being held. He is cautious but determined, moving quietly through the darkened hallways, using his knowledge of the mansion to avoid detection. His heart pounds as he approaches Zarifa's room. He can hear her muffled sobs from behind the door. "Zarifa," Kaya whispers, his voice gentle but urgent. Zarifa looks up in shock, her eyes wide with confusion. She recognizes Kaya immediately. He's different from his brother. He's kind, calm, and understanding. Her heart begins to race with hope. "Kaya, what are you doing here? You can't help me." "You're his brother," she says, her voice trembling. Kaya looks into her eyes, his expression filled with regret. "I'm not like him," he says firmly. "I can't let him do this. I won't let you become a part of his cruel plan." Without hesitation, Kaya unties Zarifa's bonds and helps her to her feet. "We need to leave." Now together, Kaya and Zarifa flee the mansion, moving swiftly through the night. Kaya knows the risks, his family's wrath, the danger of being caught, but he's ready to face whatever comes. He leads Zarifa through the back gates and into the forest, where they can hide until it's safe to move on. As they walk through the dense woods, Zarifa's mind is filled with conflicting emotions. She's relieved to be free, but she's also torn. Leaving her father behind feels like a betrayal. She knows that she's leaving the only family she's ever known, even if they've betrayed her trust. The journey ahead is uncertain, and the road to the city will be long. But as they move further into the night, Zarifa knows that her dreams are still within reach. Kaya has given her the chance to live her life the way she's always wanted, to escape the chains of her stepmother's greed and the crushing weight of her arranged future. She doesn't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long while, Zarifa feels the stirrings of hope. Kumbe, once confident in her control over Zarifa's life, now finds herself reeling from the disappearance of her stepdaughter. Her carefully laid plans have unraveled in a single night, and she can feel her grip on the future slipping away. In the absence of Zarifa, Kumbe's desperation grows. Her obsession with wealth and status outweighs any love or concern she might have once felt for Zarifa. With her reputation at stake, Kumbe quickly shifts into damage control mode. She knows that Zarifa's escape and the rumors surrounding it could jeopardize her position in the village. Kumbe spreads false rumors, painting Zarifa as a runaway bride, a woman who has disgraced the family, and worse, one who betrayed her father. She manipulates the villagers, turning them against Zarifa by playing on their fears and prejudices. She tells them that Zarifa is an ungrateful daughter who shamed her family for her own selfish reasons, and she makes sure that her version of events spreads like wildfire. Kumbe's tactics are vicious, but they are also effective. As the village whispers about Zarifa's disappearance, Kumbe's influence seems to grow stronger. But even as the villagers turn against Zarifa, Kumbe knows in her heart that she's not done yet. She can't afford to lose the wealth and status that the marriage to Dumi promised. She's determined to regain control over Zarifa's future, no matter what it takes. The old methods of manipulation and force are no longer enough. Kumbe must take matters into her own hands. She begins to plan her next move, setting her sights on the wealth hidden by her late husband's family and the resources she can leverage to reclaim what she believes is rightfully hers. As Zarifa and Kaya find their way through the wilderness, seeking safety and freedom, Kaya opens up to Zarifa about his own family dark secrets. He confides in her about the fortune hidden by his family, a vast treasure that his ancestors had buried in a secret location. It was meant to secure the future of the family, but due to betrayals and greed, the wealth was hidden away for generations, never to be claimed by those who might have misused it. Kaya's revelation is a shock to Zarifa. She had no idea that her escape from the oppressive control of Kumbe would lead her to something far more valuable than just freedom. Kaya explains that he is the rightful heir to the fortune, but the path to unlocking it is complex and fraught with danger. Only a select few know where it's buried, and those few are dead or unwilling to help. The treasure was meant to be a safeguard, a legacy for the rightful heirs, but now it's buried under layers of secrets and betrayals. Kaya's own family, especially his brother Dumi, never understood the importance of this wealth. Dumi, consumed by his desires for control and power, never cared about the family's past, and Kaya had always been too conflicted to do anything about it. Zarifa listens with a mixture of awe and disbelief. The life she had planned for herself seems so distant now, replaced by this newfound possibility of riches. But for her, it's not just about the money. It's about the freedom that wealth could bring, the power to make decisions without being at the mercy of Kumbe's manipulation. As they discuss the hidden wealth, Zarifa begins to realize that the life Kumbe had tried to force on her is no longer valid. She is no longer a pawn in someone else's game. Zarifa has her own dreams, her own goals, and now she has the means to shape her own future. The fortune represents a new beginning, one where she can finally stand on her own terms. But with the prospect of riches also comes the looming question of whether the pursuit of this fortune will make her just as blinded by greed as Kumbe was. Faced with the weight of Kaya's revelation, Zarifa must decide what path she wants to take. The idea of the hidden fortune, the promise of a better future, is alluring. But Zarifa knows that the pursuit of wealth can sometimes lead people down dark paths, as she's seen firsthand with Kumbe's actions. She must decide whether to join Kaya in seeking the treasure and what that might mean for her future. After much contemplation, Zarifa makes a choice. She decides to help Kaya find the hidden fortune. She believes that this treasure could give them both the opportunity to start anew, free from the toxic influence of Kumbe and Dumi. Zarifa also feels a deep sense of loyalty to Kaya, who has risked everything to help her. Kaya's honesty, his willingness to stand against his own family, and his kindness have won her trust. Together they will find the wealth, and together they will build a future that is theirs and theirs alone. As they begin their search for the hidden fortune, Zarifa learns more about Kaya's past and his own struggles. She discovers that Kaya has always been the voice of reason in his family, the one who tried to temper Dumi's cruelty and ambition, but his efforts were always ignored. Kaya's life has been one of conflict, between loyalty to his family and his own moral compass. Zarifa, too, finds herself caught in a conflict, torn between her past and her new future. She knows that finding the treasure is just the beginning of a journey, one that will challenge her in ways she never imagined. Unbeknownst to them, Kumbe is still hard at work, plotting her next move. The game is far from over, and Zarifa's freedom may still be in jeopardy. But for the first time in a long while, Zarifa feels like she's in control of her own fate. The future is uncertain, but she is ready to face whatever comes her way. As Zarifa and Kaya venture deeper into the mystery of the hidden fortune, Kumbe's obsession with wealth grows stronger, and she unknowingly becomes the architect of her own downfall. Her blind pursuit of power and status will eventually collide with the path Zarifa is forging, and the consequences of Kumbe's actions will be far more devastating than she could ever have imagined. The search for the hidden fortune becomes a journey of self-discovery for both Zarifa and Kaya. Together they trek through thick forests, cross treacherous rivers, and navigate desolate terrains that seem to mirror the hardships they've faced in their lives. Each obstacle they encounter strengthens their bond, and as they move forward, Zarifa's courage begins to blossom. She is no longer the meek girl who once feared her stepmother's power. Instead, she becomes a force to be reckoned with, a woman who has found her own agency and is ready to fight for the future she deserves. They arrive at an ancient site, the location Kaya's family had safeguarded for generations, a place that holds the key to their legacy. The site is hidden from prying eyes, buried deep in the heart of the jungle, surrounded by dense foliage. At first glance, it looks like a forgotten piece of land, untouched by civilization. But Kaya knows that this is the place where his ancestors buried their wealth, away from the greedy hands of those who would exploit it. The search is long and grueling, but their determination doesn't waver. Kaya leads the way, following cryptic clues that were passed down through the generations. Zarifa's mind sharpens, and she takes the initiative to decipher the symbols that Kaya has missed. Her passion for education, her hunger for knowledge, and her unshakable belief in her own strength become the driving force behind their success. In her heart, she knows that this is her moment to not only reclaim her future, but to prove that she is more than the life Kumbe tried to force upon her. Finally, after what feels like an eternity of searching, they find the hidden vault. The walls of the ancient stone structure are covered in intricate carvings that tell the story of Kaya's ancestors, their triumphs, their betrayals, and their vision for the future. Together, they manage to unlock the vault, revealing a treasure trove beyond their wildest imaginations. Inside the vault are valuable properties scattered across the region, land that was once considered sacred, homes and buildings that were passed down as part of Kaya's heritage. Alongside the land, there are priceless artifacts, jewels, ancient manuscripts, and relics that have been preserved for centuries. The fortune is not just monetary, it is a testament to the legacy of Kaya's family, a heritage that was stolen from them by betrayal and greed. The wealth they uncover is vast, and for the first time in their lives, both Zarifa and Kaya see a glimmer of hope that was once unimaginable. As they sit among the treasures, Zarifa's eyes sparkle with a newfound light. This fortune represents more than just freedom from Kumbe's grasp. It is a symbol of her own growth. Zarifa has not only survived the cruelty of her stepmother, but has emerged stronger and wiser. She understands now that her future is not tied to the traditions that once bound her, nor is it dictated by the oppressive forces that tried to keep her in the shadows. She has the power to shape her own destiny, and she will not let anyone stand in her way. Kaya, too, sees Zarifa in a new light. He has always respected her, but now he sees her as an equal, someone who is not just a victim of circumstances, but a fierce woman capable of creating her own path. He offers her an equal partnership, not just in the search for the wealth, but in building a life that is theirs and theirs alone. The partnership they share is not based on obligation or desperation, but on mutual respect and admiration. They are equals now, and Kaya no longer sees Zarifa as a helpless woman to be rescued, but as someone whose strength and resilience match his own. Zarifa's confidence grows daily. The woman who once feared Kumbe's wrath is now someone who stands tall, unapologetically herself. She knows the road ahead will not be easy. Kumbe is still out there, plotting and scheming. But Zarifa is no longer the same person she was when she left her home. She is strong, capable, and ready to face whatever challenges come her way. The hidden fortune has opened doors for her, but it is her own strength that will allow her to walk through them. Kumbe's fury knows no bounds when she learns of Zarifa's escape and the hidden wealth that has been uncovered. She is not content to simply accept her loss. Kumbe's greed has clouded her judgment for so long that she cannot fathom a world in which Zarifa has control over her own fate. Kumbe believes that the treasure rightfully belongs to her, not Zarifa, and she will stop at nothing to reclaim it. Kumbe uses every tactic in her arsenal, spreading false rumors about Zarifa's plans, threatening Kaya, and even attempting to bribe the villagers to turn against them. She is relentless in her pursuit of the treasure and her desire to destroy Zarifa's newfound freedom. Kumbe's manipulative nature rears its ugly head once again as she seeks to sabotage their efforts. But Zarifa and Kaya are no longer vulnerable to Kumbe's manipulation. They are united in their pursuit of a future built on trust, respect, and their own hard work. Kumbe's attempts to undermine them are met with resistance at every turn. When she sends spies to track Zarifa and Kaya, the pair outsmarts them with their knowledge of the land and their understanding of the people. Kaya's status as the rightful heir to the fortune also lends them an unexpected level of protection. The more Kumbe pushes, the more she exposes her own weakness and desperation. She has underestimated Zarifa, and that mistake will be her undoing. As Kumbe's schemes fail one by one, Zarifa and Kaya move closer to their goal. They know that the battle is far from over, but they also know that they are stronger together. The treasure may have been the catalyst for their journey, but it is their unbreakable bond and their unwavering resolve that will carry them through the challenges ahead. Kumbe's reign of manipulation is ending, and Zarifa's strength is just beginning. With the hidden fortune now in her hands, Zarifa's transformation is nothing short of remarkable. The money, the land, the artifacts, they are the tools she needs to build a life free from the chains of her past. But it is not just about wealth for Zarifa. It is about empowerment and breaking free from the system that sought to oppress her. Her vision extends far beyond her own personal gain. She wants to create lasting change, not just for herself, but for the women in her village who have long been denied their voices and rights. Zarifa begins by focusing on education. With the wealth she has uncovered, she builds a school that provides quality education to girls who, like her once, have been denied the opportunity to learn. She knows that the power of knowledge is the key to unlocking freedom, and she wants to ensure that no girl in her village has to suffer the way she did. The school quickly becomes a beacon of hope, attracting young girls who have been kept in the shadows for far too long. Zarifa uses her own experience as motivation, teaching these girls that they are more than what society expects them to be. They are capable, strong, and worthy of a better future. Alongside her efforts in education, Zarifa starts a business that empowers women. The business provides women with the skills and resources they need to succeed, offering training in various crafts, entrepreneurship, and financial literacy. It becomes a hub of empowerment, a place where women can come together, share their stories, and support each other in building their futures. Zarifa knows that true independence comes from being able to sustain oneself, and she is determined to ensure that the women in her community have the tools to stand on their own 2 feet. Through her business and educational initiatives, Zarifa gradually changes the fabric of her village. The oppressive traditions that once defined their lives begin to loosen their grip, and a sense of hope starts to take root. The village, once mired in poverty and subjugation, is beginning to flourish, all because Zarifa dared to break free from the life Kumbe tried to force upon her. But Zarifa's success doesn't go unnoticed. Kumbe, ever the manipulator, cannot accept her defeat. The wealth that was once meant for her, the control she tried so desperately to maintain, Zarifa has taken it all, and Kumbe cannot stand it. Driven by jealousy and greed, she decides to confront Zarifa, desperate to get her back under her control. When Kumbe arrives at Zarifa's new home, the tension between them is palpable. Kumbe is no longer the woman who once held power over Zarifa. She is now a shadow of her former self, consumed by her failure. Zarifa, on the other hand, stands tall, her posture unyielding, her eyes filled with a strength Kumbe can no longer break. Kumbe tries to guilt Zarifa into returning to her. She invokes the past, the pain of Zarifa's childhood, and attempts to manipulate her into thinking that family is more important than the life she's built. "You can't leave me, Zarifa," Kumbe says, her voice a mix of desperation and venom. "You owe me. I gave you everything. Without me, you're nothing." But Zarifa's response is clear, unwavering. She looks Kumbe in the eye and says, "No, you gave me nothing but pain. You tried to control me, to keep me from living my life. You don't own me, Kumbe. I'm not yours to control anymore." Kumbe's face flushes with anger as she realizes that her manipulation has failed. The woman who once cowered before her is now standing up to her, refusing to be a pawn in her game. Zarifa's newfound strength and independence are not something Kumbe can overcome with guilt or threats. The very thing Kumbe feared has come to pass. Zarifa is no longer under her thumb. Kumbe tries to lash out, to tear down Zarifa's newfound world, but it's too late. The villagers, the women Zarifa has helped, and even Kaya, all of them stand behind Zarifa now. Kumbe is left alone, surrounded by the ruins of her own greed. The power she once had over Zarifa has crumbled, and with it, her influence over the village. Kumbe's reign of control is over, and in the end, she is left with nothing but the ashes of her manipulative schemes. Zarifa, on the other hand, stands victorious. She has not only freed herself from her stepmother's tyranny, but has built something beautiful from the ashes of her past. Her strength, her courage, and her ability to turn pain into power have made her a force to be reckoned with. The village is better for it, the women are stronger for it, and Zarifa's future is brighter than ever. Zarifa's transformation is complete, and with it, her life takes on a new meaning. With the hidden fortune that she uncovered, Zarifa doesn't just sit back and enjoy her wealth. She uses it as a tool to continue the work she started, helping others, especially the young girls in her village who are still shackled by the same oppressive traditions she once fought against. Her experiences have given her a deep understanding of the power of education and self-sufficiency, and she's determined to give these young girls the opportunities she was denied. Zarifa starts a charity that focuses on providing education, healthcare, and vocational training for young girls in the village. The charity helps girls break free from the cycle of poverty, just as Zarifa has done. It provides scholarships, mentorship programs, and resources to help them succeed in life. The charity becomes a beacon of hope, and soon, it is transforming the community. No longer do the girls in the village have to resign themselves to a life of silence and servitude. They now have the chance to follow their dreams, just as Zarifa once dreamed of escaping her circumstances. But Zarifa's success doesn't end there. Her partnership with Kaya, once born out of necessity and rescue, has blossomed into something much deeper. Kaya's respect for Zarifa has grown into love, and together they form a partnership that is founded on mutual respect and shared values. Kaya, now a changed man, works alongside Zarifa, supporting her in her mission to empower others. They combine their strengths and ideas to build a future, not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. Their relationship is based on equality, trust, and a shared vision for a better world. Together, Zarifa and Kaya become a power couple in their village, known not only for their success but for the positive changes they bring to the lives of others. They prove that love, respect, and unity can conquer even the darkest of pasts. As they build their life together, they lay the foundation for a legacy that will last for generations to come, one built on strength, perseverance, and the unshakable belief that no one is defined by their past. Meanwhile, Kumbe's life takes a different turn, one that is marked by the consequences of her own greed. Her manipulative ways, once so successful in controlling Zarifa, have finally caught up with her. The wealth and power she thought would bring her happiness have instead led to her downfall. Kumbe's obsession with status and control has blinded her to the more important things in life: love, family, and the well-being of others. As Zarifa's life continues to thrive, Kumbe finds herself isolated. The villagers, once under her thumb, have seen through her false facade. They no longer trust her or her lies. Even her own allies, those who once stood by her in her pursuit of wealth, begin to distance themselves from her. They have witnessed the destruction Kumbe has caused, not only to Zarifa but to the village as a whole. She is left alone, abandoned by those she once manipulated, and her wealth, gained through underhanded schemes, slowly slips away. Kumbe's life becomes a bitter reflection of the choices she made. She sits alone in the house she once shared with Zarifa and her father, a place that now feels cold and empty. The fortune she once believed would bring her happiness has turned into a prison, and she is forced to face the wreckage of her own making. The village, once under her control, now rejects her. The power she once wielded has crumbled, leaving Kumbe with nothing but the remnants of her greed. Zarifa, despite the hurt and anger Kumbe caused her, chooses to rise above it all. She refuses to let Kumbe's cruelty define her or her future. Zarifa could have easily sought revenge, but she knows that revenge would only keep her tied to the past. Instead, she chooses to move forward, focusing on the legacy she is building with Kaya and the changes she is making in her village. The story concludes with a powerful message of empowerment and resilience. Zarifa, through all her trials, has shaped her own destiny. She has risen above the toxic forces that once tried to hold her down, forces of greed, control, and oppression. Zarifa's journey from a passive, oppressed girl to a strong, independent woman is a testament to the power of resilience and determination. By choosing to help others, Zarifa not only heals herself, but creates a ripple effect that spreads throughout her village. She has built a legacy of hope and strength that will inspire generations to come. The toxic forces that once threatened her future are now powerless against the strength of her will and the love she shares with Kaya. Zarifa's story is not just about overcoming her past. It is about creating a future where dreams are no longer bound by circumstances. In the end, Zarifa shows us that we are not defined by the obstacles in our path, but by the strength we summon to overcome them. She has taken control of her life, built a future on her own terms, and empowered others to do the same. Zarifa's legacy is one of empowerment, strength, and hope, a legacy that will live on long after her story is told.